intelligent,
persistent, dependable,
creative problem solver.
John loves Arlington. He grew up here. He cares about it, both from the governmental community and the business side of things. So he's one of the rare people who covers all three sides of the triangle.
Well, one project was started what was probably almost 20 years ago when I was working with Clarendon Baptist Church on a vision for affordable housing right in the middle of Clarendon. So I cornered John at a Taste of Arlington event while he was sampling the fair and asked him how he really felt about affordable housing and would he put some time and energy and thought behind that to help strategize and think about how to advance that project.
He both advocates for the new growth, the new high-rises, the new sidewalks, the new parks, but he also listens to the neighbors who want to preserve diversity and inclusivity.
He's fair, and he really does care about people. And as a community foundation, that's what we're here to do, bring the community together, to work together, and John is at the center of so many of these projects and initiatives that are making Arlington a better place.
But just like his father, David, who was a great man, and it was my pleasure to know him, John was the person who learned, probably from his parents, that as you progress through a community, you want to bring the community with you. And he learned that very well, and he's always acted that way in his projects and in the things he's done.
and a lot of the work that he does is, after hours especially, is work in the community. And even growing up, he'd always make time to make sure that he was at my games or stuff like that.
He's someone who many young attorneys emulate for both his competence and his approachability, and that people want to seek out his counsel.
John really kind of epitomizes what's great about Arlington. I mean, obviously he brings, intelligence, professionalism, and common sense to the table.
I have memories of John making the atmosphere not only an important place to work with important jobs and tasks, but also he added some levity. There were often jokes and pranks that would be played between partners, and it would include the associates and the staff, and it just made it for a pleasant place to work in addition to a place where you could grow your career.
One time we went to it and looked at the timber. Prior to that, we were driving around and there was these off roads, and I had my SUV, and we were coming to a spot, and it was rain the night before, and it was all mud up ahead with a hill going up, and John said, "Ralph, stop here. We're not going to be able to make it up there." I said, "Yeah, I think we can get through that." And he says, "No, I don't think we can get through that." And I said, "No, we ought to give it a try." So we go flying up, we had our windows open, we go flying up the thing, and sure enough, our tires just, and I said, "Oh, you're right, John." And I looked, and he turned to me. His whole face was completely cased in mud, and he was like this. Of course, my response was, Then we went to the auction, and here's John, muddy-faced John, making his bids. It was the greatest thing. If I only had my camera, that would have been wonderful.
Why is John Mr. Arlington? I gave that some thought, and I said, he's like the magic 8-ball. He knows everything.
Somehow seems to know not only what will happen in Arlington, but he seems to know what should happen.
He's a guy that will arm wrestle you to the ground for you to pay for lunch instead of him, and then maybe shortly thereafter write a 5-figure check for your favorite charity or for whatever good cause there is in Arlington or in anywhere in the community.
He's a very, very humble man, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, a person in his status, who'd ever drive a 17-year-old car with the check engine light blinking all the time? I mean, who would do that? And he says, I think it's the gas cap. Do you know?
he really is Mr. Arlington. He cares about all sectors of the community. He cares about making Arlington a better place to live, work, and learn.
I think the word that he would like to be described at is hardworking, because it's so much of how he comports himself and what he does. But there's this underlying layer of love that I see as his son that he brought to the family, and that I think that he brings to the community. That's why he works so hard.